series of our UPES on, and this is a meeting with the faculties related to the oil and gas management program. And we welcome you to our faculty webinar series. And the topic for today's webinar is Fueling Your Success, Unlocking Opportunities with Oil and Gas. The oil and gas sectors, as you know, stands as a linchpin for global economy, powers industry, transportation, and our daily lives. It has a long been cornerstone for energy production, driving economic growth, technological advancement. And as today we stand at the cusp of rapidly evolving energy landscape, the importance of oil and gas sector remains undeniably significant. In this context, the career prospect with the industry an equally compelling offering of multitude opportunities for individual seeking dynamic and rewarding careers. From exploration to production and innovation of clean energy transitions, oil and gas sector is fueling and offering diverse path and those who are looking to make their career in the oil and gas domain. So today in this webinar, we will explore the significance of oil and gas sector and how it is very promising to make career in the oil and gas domain. In this webinar today, we have our two esteemed experts, Dr. Atul Rawat and Professor Pramod Panuli, who have a diverse experience. So let me begin with Professor uh, Professor Panuli first. Professor Panuli comes with a very rich experience of having worked as senior geologist in organizations such as ONGC, and he has worked with Reliance Industries. He has worked at a senior position. He has worked at a senior position at Rapsol, and he has a wide experience in working not only in India but also abroad. So he is the faculty and expert who teaches us here at UPES in the area of oil and gas. Welcome, sir, on behalf of UPES on, I welcome you to this webinar. And the next guest is Dr. Atul Rawat. So Dr. Atul Rawat also has an experience of more than 16 years in including industry and academia. He has worked with various large consulting firms like Deloitte, etc. And he has experience of uh, connecting the academics and industry together. And also, I would like to highlight that Dr. Atul is not only a very good academician and a researcher, but also he is a very good sports person. So thank you, Dr. Atul, for coming for this and accepting
Thank you,
our
Chandru.
invite for this webinar. And let's just without wasting any time, my first question you to Dr. Atul would be, how large is this oil and gas industry? And in addition, what is the uniqueness to this sector?
Okay, Shantanu, thank you. When we are talking about oil and gas industry and its size, I think we need to understand one thing that the first well was drilled in 19th century, right? And since then, uh, its share in the energy mix has been growing leap and bound. And every now and then, every century, we have been talking about like, yes, it's a fossil fuel, and there's going to be a peak oil, and the production will decline and people will find it tough to go. But we need to understand one more thing, it's been more than 150 years when we are talking about oil and gas supply. Peak oil, it's a theory. We don't know when, the peak will come, because every time whenever we pose a question or a threat on oil and gas existence, there was some new discovery happening in some part of the world which changed the dynamics of the industry. We saw how the when we start talk about the easy oil end of easy oil era, then we were saying yes, it is going to end. Then comes uh, the deep water, ultra deep water, high pressure, high temperature zone. We thought, yeah, this is the extreme. Now what next? Then came shale, right? And today when we are talking about it, the technology is doing wonders. So definitely the size of the industry is increasing with each passing year. and the role it is playing in our day-to-day life. If we ask someone, like, tell us one moment wherein you are not using any petroleum product, it's be very difficult for us to, identify any moment, because today we are talking through online. That is perfectly fine, but uh, most of us have logged through, phones or laptop or some other things, and few of those things have been made up of plastics, right? And that is a product of petrochemical industry, right?
Absolutely.
So definitely the industry is growing leap and bound. The size is extreme. It's all about identifying the opportunity and see where you can fit in.
Yep. So I think you have highlighted a lot, starting from how the industry evolved over the years and how it is taking shapes. And it is not that it is a kind of area which will go down, but it is again there are new innovation, exploration, newness, and new things are coming up in this area, and the industry is going ahead in terms of whether it is petrochemical or the sustainable fuels.
So let me
So,
let me add on to
yeah,
that. Like, when you are talking about the numbers,
yeah,
so if I talk about 2022, the industry has spent more than $1.1 trillion, right?
oh,
That clearly shows, indicates the importance of oil and gas, right, in the
okay.
energy mix, global revenue.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a huge number to say, like in terms of industry, if we talk about. Now, I would here bring in our second expert, Professor Penuli, into the discussion. And I would like to ask Professor Penuli about describing the current scenario of oil and gas sector globally, and what are the challenges that oil and gas sector primarily faces in this scenario or situation.
All right. So thank you, Santanu. I think Atul laid the landscape for for me to take further on and to answer your questions.
Yeah,
As he mentioned, all the few characteristics of the oil and gas industry we must keep in mind before we really answer your questions. So oil and gas is a global. Number one, it's a global business. It is not confined to one region or one country. It's a global.
absolutely.
It's interlinked globally, right? The second characteristic of oil and gas is a very large sector as you defined, right? You can see it has upstream, it has midstream, it has downstream components, which are huge markets actually, in terms of the business
Absolutely.
sense. So we are talking about trillions and trillions of dollars, right? 5 to 6 total, the entire petroleum industry itself, and the investments you just mentioned of an order of 1 trillion every year, that's going into the oil and gas sector. Now, the question is one aspect, one characteristics, which is where everything matters and which is determining some of the ways the oil and gas industry are facing challenges, and they are they are making course corrections in their business processes and technology, of course, is is a very recent example of Ukraine Russia
Yes,
invasion.
correct.
So this is one. I'm just giving a sample of how the oil and gas industry can be impacted and how it is interwoven in the global sense, right?
Absolutely.
So what has happened is it has these geopolitical considerations and the macroeconomic effect of this war has really engulfed the entire globe in terms of energy security, in terms of supply chain constraints, right? Uh, so these are some of the areas which oil and gas companies, which explains the volatility of the oil and gas business, right? So the price is another factor. Many times you see the crude oil price going so low that
Yeah,
it becomes unsustainable to carry out oil and gas business, especially the upstream segments. So
yeah,
so in terms of the challenges, the price volatility is one part. The geopolitical uncertainty in oil and gas business, which is another big factors.
absolutely.
So how oil and gas companies are adopting, how they're preparing themselves to meet these challenges, for example, right? So one is, and the second big pressure on oil and gas companies is coming from the carbon neutrality, which
Yeah.
they need to include into their processes. So they are usually, they are
Absolutely.
usually under pressure to
Yes.
move towards the green fuel or
Yeah.
the carbon neutral aspects of the fossil fuel which they produce. So
Absolutely.
this is one area which oil and gas companies have started investing in, and I'm very happy to say that every oil and gas company has set a target for themselves to be not to be green, to be neutral, carbon neutral by certain number 2050, for examples, right? So this is a welcome measures, right? The other challenges that oil and gas companies are facing, and they are making practices, is they got to be lean and smarter. So the cost cutting is one area, right? Cost cutting is
Yep.
happening. The operational efficiencies are going up, right?
Yep.
And one of the challenges also, which I'm sure will further dwell on in the remaining questions, is the talent shortage in the oil and gas companies, oil and gas sectors. That's huge. That is impacting every company
Absolutely.
today.
Yeah, in fact, rightly highlighted by you, sir. And when you were talking and giving the answer, you highlighted about the geopolitical issue and the supply chain aspect of that that the crisis that happened between Russia and Ukraine, and how the geopolitics changed, and how the supply chain of crude from Russia and its processing in India and moving towards again providing fuel to Russian for European economies happened, and that we have seen the change and drastic shift between the global trade as well. So that's a really interesting point that you highlighted. And specifically the another challenge of talent shortage that we have, the skill gap that we have in specifically in oil and gas sector, and to bridge that skill gap, we are I think the pioneers in running this oil and gas program. And our oil and gas program that UPS Online or UPES actually runs is one of the world's best in the area of oil and gas, and it's a flagship program of UPES. And I think because of the connections that we have, the linkages that we have with the industry, whether it is the public sector undertaking companies or whether it is the industry organizations like big organizations or big giants like Rain Energy, or whether it is Reliance or Tata. So we have, I think, the connections or interlinkages with big or large corporates as well, who actually also help us in improving our curriculum, improving our quality of the content, improving our course structure, course designing, and improving the overall learning process that we have in the uh, programs that we offer here in oil and gas domain. Again coming back to Dr. Atul, just to illustrate, what are some of the future prospects of job opportunities in oil and gas industry, uh, according to you, Dr. Atul?
I think it's everywhere, right? Uh, First, let's start with, uh, as I mentioned in my previous answer as well, the industry is moving into a new zone, right? So
Yeah.
there's a continuous pressure on oil and gas companies to identify new resources, bring them to production, right, to meet the rising demand, right?
Mhm.
So definitely, exploration and production industry is one wherein there's a demand. The second thing which Sir has already highlighted, it's all about going green. So transitioning, energy transition, and implementation of new technologies to reduce the carbon footprints. So carbon capture, utilization, and storages. New technologies will come into the picture that will open multiple opportunities for new talent. Then interesting aspect is like when we talk about any news coming into the market, and we know that it has a implication on the crude oil prices, and or vice versa, right? If a price goes up, the countries like India, they become the leadership comes into attention
Hmm.
because it is likely to increase the import cost of import, right? So definitely, there are multiple things which are, and when we talk about the crude oil, it is the largest traded commodity in the world. It is getting traded all across the exchanges, right?
Oh,
And there's a lot of companies which are into trading business only, right? Hedging becomes an important aspect. So
hmm.
ETRM domain, energy trading and risk management, right? So that is one more area. The other one is like the companies are under tremendous pressure to cut down their costs so as to increase their profitability. So the cost optimization or operational optimization, that is a buzzword right now. When we
Yeah.
are talking about the buzzwords, definitely companies like you know the companies require people who are have a solid understanding of the industry operations or the financial nuances of oil and gas industry, right? So that comes into a picture. So that requires a domain specific talent which knows the pulse of the industry, right? In addition to that, when we move into downstream sector, uh, we have been noticing that there has been a tremendous pressure on downstream companies to increase the penetration of retail outlet all across pan India or globally, right? So that is one more area. Petrochemicals, uh, you know, so that is one more area. So imagine, I'm just talking about the broader pointer aspects here. So there is a
Yeah.
lot of opportunity uh, for the company, for the new talents to tap into. The other one is the IT industry. People generally don't associate IT industry with the oil and gas,
Oil and gas.
but
Yeah.
but it plays a very critical role in the growth of IT, oil and gas industry, right?
Yes.
Be it the software requirement, be it the supply chain optimization,
Yeah.
uh,
True.
uh, be it developing the ETRM softwares, right? So, and the consulting industry, which has been providing guidance or which has been providing consulting services to oil and gas companies, right? So you just have to look around and just see, like, okay, there are area of opportunity which are there. It's just that you need to find out where you fit in, what kind of a skill set you are having, and what kind of a comfort zone or what kind of a area you are comfort in, right? It's just that you have to identify that thing, and industry has opportunity for you, right? You just need a right platform, and that has to be driven by right education, right?
True. True. In fact, rightly highlighted the point. Like we assume that it's more of the manufacturing or production driven industry. So opportunities are only there in the production side of the business, but it is not. It is also the service sector where you will have the opportunity after these kind of program. And IT companies you have highlighted, and consulting or research firms also look for people who have these kinds of understanding or education knowledge or skill set related to oil and gas sector as well. So thanks, Dr. Atul, for highlighting specifically that. Again, I'm coming back to Professor Panuli. I want to know from the academic perspective, what are the important skills that oil and gas industry is looking for, and from the university or academic institutions perspective, and how academic institutions are preparing their students. Like we are pioneering in this area, so what are the industry demands or requirements related to oil and gas sector, and how academic institutions are preparing the students? What are the talent or skill gap fulfillment that we as institutes do?
So please unmute yourself.
I think Professor Paneli, you are muted.
Okay. Okay, so one is the industry perspective of the skill demand. This is one
Yeah.
area. And to cater to that, as an academic institutions, what we are doing. So these are the two aspects of your questions. Starting
Yeah.
with the industry. One is the industry, oil and gas, as we have been telling that it's a very large sector. It's a very complex sectors. There are several linkages to this industry, right? So oil and gas industry is one, but there are several companies, several sectors which are linked to oil and gas. So there are service companies, there are digital companies, they are operating companies, of course, which are the core companies of the oil and gas. So they would be looking into different skill sets. So one is the domain side of the oil and gas. So if you are operating companies like upstream company like ONGC or ExxonMobil or Shell, for examples, One is their knowledge base in their core sector, which is oil and gas. But most of the job, many of the jobs today are not being created in in the operating company, core companies. They are going elsewhere. They are going into service sectors. They are going into sales and marketing jobs. They are going into tech companies and the digital companies, obviously, right? So they are looking into a different skill sets, which we need to teach our students. They need the industry is looking into a students which is readily available, which can they can onboard straight away. On the
Absolutely.
day one, he can be onboarded into their business processes, right? So what kind of skill set will be needed? Lot many more skill sets, right? They have to be digital, they have to be tech, they
Tech
have to be
savvy.
tech savvy. They have they have to have some understanding, some basic understanding or a good understanding of the of the analytics, data science applications. Right, these modern tools, they have to learn many tools, for examples, which we try to do here or they do by themselves. So one of the things we do when we take industry feedbacks, Atul heads that section with us. So we the industry feedback is taken from time to time at bio universities and bio colleges, right? And so we evaluate what are the new skill sets which industry demands from our students, which are dynamically changing, for example, right? So we address that issues by inculcating or or including some of the new areas where the industry would be aligning next, right? So they look for example, uh, ERP processes, for examples. So they will say, okay, whether students, everybody uses SAP, for examples. Today, they are using SCADA as a ERP tool, for examples. So we have included, some of these elements into our academic teaching. So through certifications, through classroom deliveries, through projects which are industry sponsored, industry integrated projects. So these kind of skills are developed, and there are communication skills, but I'm more confining myself to a domain side, because there is another domain which is non-domain oil and gas, which is your functional areas, which are marketing areas, which are HR and analytics, for examples, right? Which are Mm, finance, accounting and finance, strategy and consulting is another area, big area, which is being taught in oil and gas. But in terms of the readiness, yes, the critical thinking is one area. So these are all being interwoven into our academic processes today, right? So in academic also, as a department, as a schools, we are giving them industry exposures through our industry visits, for examples, bringing a lot of experts into our campus, right? A lot of webinars and people, CEOs, the experts from oil and gas are coming to our campus in various events, uh, through our webinars that we conduct. We have a very
Yeah.
active student chapter, which is Federation of Indian Petroleum Industry. So it's very active chapters who are inviting a lot of experts to the campus. So these are some of the processes, some of the elements that I would like to comment.
Yeah, thanks for highlighting, sir, that we do conduct webinars inviting experts specifically from industry, not only from oil and gas, but also from allied sectors, so that they can also give insights to our students. And specifically, if I talk about UPS Online, we are focusing and we are having our USPs in terms of AI and innovation. So we are also including courses like you highlighted the analytics aspect. So we are highlighting and we are giving courses related to AI, machine learning, data science, etc., as a part of curriculum, or we are embedding in our curriculum as well. We are also leveraging on the expertise of some life skill courses or some kind of courses that can help professionals or specifically the participants who are joining the program to make their career more sustainable. So it is not just we are focusing actually on the domain knowledge that we will provide in the program, but also we are trying to make them not just a transactional leader, but also a transformational leader. So to make them transformational leader, we are actually trying to help them with the life skill courses, like how they can use data, how they can work as a leader, perform, how they can improve their conversation and negotiation skills. So these are also are becoming interesting part of the program as well. Thanks, Professor Panuli, for highlighting that. And I would also like to highlight about the additional certifications that we are also providing to our students in terms of the partnering with organizations like Coursera. So it is not just that student has to come, attend the classes, read the books, and give the exams. It is the overall learning. So there are master classes, there are industry-led sessions, there are uh, Coursera courses provided free to all the students so that they can go get the certifications, join the Coursera course related to their whatever area they want to improve upon, whether it is conversation, whether it is analytics, whether it is the technology aspect. They can take the help of Coursera and get the certifications as well. So that actually helps in promoting them as well in terms of the digital space that we have. We also conduct various sessions or mentorship sessions with senior HR experts, wherein and sessions on how to improve your digital presence. So, for example, student joining the program can also have a session on, let's say, improving upon their job portal profile or even LinkedIn profile. So how they can become more visible in on LinkedIn. They can reach out to more industries. They can connect with the experts in the area, and they can lead the conversation ahead for the career. So thank you, Dr. Penuli, for highlighting this. Again, I would like to go back to Dr. Atul. And my question to you, Dr. Atul, would be that what are the new innovative technologies that our oil and gas companies are investing in, and what would be their business goals?
Okay. In a current dynamics, I would say it's more relevant question here because as we have discussed before, you know, going we are living in an era wherein the climate change has become a reality, right? And there has been a lot of pressure on oil and gas companies to deliver value. And given the energy industry is also going through a transition, right? So
Absolutely.
definitely saying that it's a pure play oil and gas field wouldn't be right because now we have seen oil and gas companies are expanding their energy mix, right? Their product mix. So
Absolutely.
and when we are talking about that, it becomes a high point for industry to embrace the technology like anything. Earlier,
Yeah.
we used to say that technology is the driver, right, for transformation. But now I would say that technology is having a paramount importance. It's no longer a driver; it's a must, right?
Absolutely.
And we have seen that industry is embracing it.
Yeah.
For example, like there are multiple technology, like let's say blockchain, right? Now, blockchain has been gaining a lot of traction in trading industry because it keeps a record, right? And it helps you to find out like who, the record of individual transaction, and you can easily find out who is doing what in terms of trading. The other one is the digital twin, right? The equipment. We have seen because of COVID-19, there was a dearth of supply, there was a disruption in supply chain. Most of the projects were getting stalled because of lack of, the supply equipment availability. Now the digital twin is gaining a lot of prominence. 3D printing is one more, right? And I would have noticed, I would have also like to highlight the importance of metaverse as well because that is that can play a critical role in terms of meeting the training requirement of the professionals.
Absolutely.
Because earlier the companies used to invest very heavily on the GETs and the MTs, graduate engineering trainees and the management trainees. and they used to train them heavily, and they used to take them to the field and invest 2 3 months on their training, right? But now with the help of metaverse, they can create the whole environment of virtually, and they can guide the new joinees within their, they can do that in from their room or their any institution office, and then they can directly go to the industry, and they can be deployable from the day one. So that is one more thing. When we talk about the AI, we are the
Yes.
largest generator of data, right, as an industry.
Yeah.
And when we talk about, a drilling exercise on a daily note, we are generating data in a TB, right? And that
Yeah.
data earlier it used to go unnoticed, or we didn't have a mechanism to analyze the data, right? But
Yes.
now with the help of ML, and we can analyze those data, and we can find out we can call out the trends. We can you know we can get the analytics done, and which can improve our operational efficiency, right? And that
Absolutely.
can help us to reduce our cost remarkably. So that is one more area. The another one is the business analytics. uh, it becomes imperative for a companies now to understand the dynamics of the market, because every now and then any sir was highlighting in during the beginning of session the geopolitical risk. We have seen what is happening between Russia and Ukraine. We thought it would be a 13-day war or a 15-day war, but it's more than 500 days. Similarly, Israel Hamas, right? Now, what kind of an impact it is going to have on the industry? Now, it's going to be a great time, because, like, with the data coming in and the kind of application we have, if we apply that, we can easily figure it out. How much influence geopolitical risks are actually having on the supply demand dynamics, right? Earlier we used to say that, but now it is becoming quantifiable, right? So
Yeah.
all those things are happening, and the technology is, as I mentioned before, it's no longer the driver; it is the must thing, right? And industry is embracing it, right? And one more thing which I would like to highlight here, because like in most of the industry, people are saying that yes, the technological revolution is taking place, but I think as an industry, we were the first one who actually embrace the technology, because people are talking about digitalization and other things, but we are talking about the digital field concept when from the early 2000 onwards, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this industry is very dynamic, and it has been embracing the technology like anything. And without the
Yeah.
new technology, we wouldn't be able to innovate much, right? The
True.
shale revolution is an outcome of technological revolution, right? So yes, this industry has a huge dependence on technology, but it's not a new thing which we are doing. We have been doing it. It's just that we are upping our game.
Yeah. So I mean, thank that was a great answer, and thanks for highlighting the inputs about the AI and how even metaverse is actually helping the industry. And in fact, I want to like to highlight here that we had a session with the strategy and technology head of Kane Energy, and he was sharing his insight about how he is actually using that. You also highlighted about how he is using metaverse and for his training and development thing. So although that was in a nascent stage at that time, I think 1.5 years back, but the industry is not something for future, it is actually being implemented. So you rightly highlighted about whether this is blockchain technology or AI or metaverse, they are actually transforming. And that is why, and data is the new oil, as they say. And definitely data analytics amalgamating with the oil and gas industry's data that they get, and the analytics boosting its potential, definitely it's a huge opportunity for the future, and rightly highlighted by you. Again, another follow-up question from both of you would be to Dr. Atul and Professor Panuli, that as the world is moving towards more and more greener and sustainable future or sustainable aspect, how the oil and gas companies are making energy transition goals and investments?
So,
Dr.
Atul, you first?
Professor Panuli, if we can
All
start
right.
with you.
Okay, okay. So that's a very apt question, very important question actually, especially for oil and gas. The oil and gas companies are known to be polluters
Yeah,
historically. So they have been polluting, and every lot of people do hate oil and gas people, oil and gas industry, especially our friends who are environmentalists. All right, but as oil and gas companies, yes, there are pressures on oil and gas company, and quite rightly, oil and gas companies need to adhere to the requirement of being low carbon fuel emissions. So low carbon fuel is not only an interest for oil and gas companies, but it is a mandate which they have accepted. The entire oil and gas industry has accepted, and they have set goals. Every company, if you look into the 10 largest oil and gas companies in the world, they have already set the goals to become carbon neutral. So then we are not saying that, okay, we will not emit carbon. But what we are saying is we will be carbon neutral by 2050. So these are the kind of goals which every company has laid out for themselves. This is number one. But how do you do that? Right? The question, how would you, because you are emitting a billion tons of carbon, for example, the every year. Okay? So one is we don't let that carbon go into the atmosphere. This is one thing that oil and gas companies are heavily investing into, and that process is called carbon capture and storage. Okay, so we are capturing carbons from the oil and gas processes, oil and gas emitters, whether they are refineries or they are oil and gas fields, for example, process platforms, and we are storing that carbons in the subsurface, which are largely the depleted reservoirs, because why you can store so much of carbons, right? So this technique, which is carbon capture storage, is something which almost every oil and gas company in the world, including oil and gas companies in India, right? So they are investing into this. So this one, I'm just giving an example of 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 an element of one idea of your carbon neutrality. So this is only one. But the other ones, I think that Atul can also speak on, is investing into competing fuels, which are low carbon emission fuels, for example, right? Or clean fuels. So companies are investing heavily in hydrogen. They are they are they are investing heavily in renewables, all right? Especially blending, the gasoline blending with biodiesel. So then what is the impact? Impact for India is we cut down our import costs by adding biofuels, because we can produce a lot of biofuels in India, for example, right? But also we reduce the carbon emissions by adding biofuels to the gasoline, right? So this is a twin objective of the blending of biofuel with the fuel, with the combustion fuel. This is one area we are investing into green ammonia. There are a lot of initiatives which companies are taking globally, and so are in India today. Right? I'm just giving an example of Norway, for example. Let's see how Norway is doing. Norway is one country which is a very large producer of oil and gas. That means they are one of the largest polluters, if you say Europe, in the North Sea. But they also generate lot of lot of renewable energy, right? And they are selling their oil and gas to, so all their power dependence, power generations is being fueled by renewables, and they are selling their oil and gas to rest part of the Europe, which demands so much of fossil fuel, for example, right? So these are, so if you look at it, I'm not giving the numbers and investments, but investments are running equal to what we invest in oil and gas today. So if I'm investing more than 500 billion, $600 billion into oil and gas every year. Same amount of investments are also going into renewable energy today. So these are some kind of
True.
numbers that I would like to quote. And this is a very healthy way of sustaining fossil fuel industry, but at the same time meeting your low carbon fuel norms or low carbon fuel s- targets that the companies have set for themselves.
Okay. So again, quickly coming back to Dr. Atul, your thoughts on the same thing, that how the world is moving, when the world is moving towards greener and sustainability aspects, and how oil and gas companies are making this energy transition. So your thoughts on
Okay.
this?
Sir has already highlighted multiple things, so I would like to move away from that because it has been already covered.
Yeah.
So I would like to see, I would like to present it with the perspective of a management uh, guy. What kind of a opportunity awaits for us because of that transition, right? So when we are talking about the expansion into energy, right, or energy transition, so one thing which we need to accept is that energy transition has become a reality, right? It's no longer a
True.
buzzword. It has become a reality. Now every company is actually lapping into it. And for me, I would say it's a new opportunity for oil and gas companies to expand their business, right? Uh, Gone are the days that I just wanted to be in oil and gas because it used to be the most dynamic. But now, with the renewable expansion and the new technologies coming into the picture, that has become a more area wherein more money can be minted in, right?
Oh,
And that's why you would have noticed that more and more companies are rebranding themselves, right? We have seen in past that Statoil is no longer there. We are calling it a Equinor. They have actually rebranded themselves as an energy company. They don't want to be known as a oil and gas company, though. Although their 90% or 85% of their revenue is coming from oil and gas, but they want to be presented themselves as energy company by 2030, right? So they have actually done away with their name. They have renamed themselves Equinor. We have seen
oh,
what Total is doing. Now,
yeah.
Total, earlier it was a Total. Now we are calling it a Total Energy, right? They
Hmm.
have changed the logo, right?
Hmm.
And that clearly indicates the seriousness of renewable for their business.
Hmm.
Similarly, day before yesterday, I was in a meeting and I found out that Schlumberger, which is supposed to be a major OFS player, they
Yeah.
don't call themselves as Schlumberger now. They call it SLB,
Oh,
right? They call themselves SLB on a business forum. They don't want to
hmm.
be known as a Schlumberger people, right?
Somewhere.
Because Schlumberger was more attached to oil and gas.
Oil
Now,
and
when they
gas.
call SLV, they are saying like we are providing services to energy companies, right? So imagine the kind of a
Okay.
opportunity the companies are looking at.
True. I
Right?
mean, that's
For the largest period of time, we have been considered as a bad boy of the
yeah.
industry, right? Uh, because let us be very honest that because we are actually producing something which is deteriorating the quality of environment, but it's not only the final product which is deteriorating; it's the extraction process as well, which is contributing in carbon emissions.
Absolutely.
So yes, definitely we were put on a spot multiple times, but the kind of a embracement which we have, we didn't run away. We are not running away from that. We are accepting that, and we are making a substantial investment in terms of presenting ourselves as an environment friendly company and taking a cue. We are diversifying into energy, and obviously, when we talk about the growth of renewables, that requires a huge investment, right? And the
Absolutely.
oil and gas companies are rich in cash,
Hmm.
right?
True.
If you go by the Forbes list of first decade of this century, you would have noticed at least three to four companies from oil and gas used to
Oil
be
and
in the
gas.
top 10. But now it's
Absolutely.
no longer the case, right?
Yeah.
But they are still cash heavy and they have the big purse to invest in renewable development. Moreover, when we talk about the hydrogen, right? So hydrogen, we are not saying hydrogen, we are saying green hydrogen, blue
Green.
hydrogen, gray hydrogen.
True.
right? And when we talk about the blue hydrogen, it will come from gas.
Absolutely.
So there again, we will be contributing,
Yes.
right? So try to understand. And moreover, this industry has shown the appetite to embrace the changes, right?
Yep.
That the automotive industry is coming up with a different set of engines. Now they are coming up with a hybrid engine, right, which can run on CNG, which can
Yes.
run on biodiesel and petrol, right? And that requires a quality petrol, right? And this industry has embraced it. They are ready for that challenge. They are up for it, and they have been delivering it. Moreover, when we talk about the carbon emission, there was a pressure on the downstream companies to improve the quality of fuel. Now, earlier we used to talk about the percentage. Today we are talking about part per million,
Yeah.
right? And when we are saying part per million, we are saying we are clean actually, right? It's just that our
Absolutely.
positioning is such that people have been raising a lot of fingers on our side. But this industry has been delivering things. So for me, again, I'm saying oil and gas is not going to go away until 2035, 40 or 2050. And
Yeah.
moreover, this industry will drive the energy transition.
Oh, I mean, that was lovely insights that I have got from both of you, and it was really very insightful discussion. And I mean, I'm happy and excited to see the transition that oil and gas companies are doing and how the business part is being managed. Like you talked about the branding aspect, how they have changed even the logo and the nitty gritties of the business that are being taught. That is very interesting to see. Apart from it, like the companies, how they are moving from their own actual operations to how they are also embracing the sustainability aspect into the business. That is really a very some that is really something that somebody needs to learn and understand in this kind of scenario where the transition is happening actually. uh, there are a lot of participants also in this webinar. Just to share that all those who are attending the webinar, I would request to keep your answer typed in the chat box. We will definitely take some of the questions definitely before winding up the webinar. Also, I would like to ask that if any one of you wants to share or interact with us or want to have connected with you, you can just drop in your email id or phone number. Our team definitely, somebody from our team definitely tomorrow will definitely connect with you. And there is an what you can say is there is an opportunity to learn while earn while learn. So it is like the our referral policy. So let's say you are attending this webinar, you and your friend or colleague want to join this program of ours or any program offered by UPS online. So you can also promote while you are doing the course or while you are enrolling in the course. And we also provide some referral money amount uh, in terms of the program that you enroll it. Like for example, degree program, the referral amount could be somewhere around 5,000 rupees, and for certification program it could be per referral 2,000 rupees as well. So you can also invite your friends, near and dears, colleagues, etc., to enroll with us. Share this insights that you might have got today in the uh, webinar that we are having. Also, again, a quick question to Dr. Atul before we would go towards concluding the webinar is, Dr. Atul, can you highlight and suggest how, and because you teach in our online MBA and PGP program of oil and gas management, can you tell us how an online MBA, specifically in oil and gas management, can make professionals stand out, and what can be the instructional method designs and pedagogical methods that can be incorporated by UPS online to make the professional get best out of their degrees or certifications?
Okay. So I think the first thing which we need to understand is why we want to do this course, or what kind of a benefit we are going to get, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so obviously, when we talk about the continuous education, right? I'm not saying it a distance education. I'm calling it a continuous education. The kind of a environment we are operating in, right? So to abreast oneself with the latest education is a must, right? And the kind of a dynamic nature this oil and gas industry is having, right? Everyone has a point of view. You know, everyone would like to grow in their career. So going for a online courses enables you to get the best out of from someone best out of the industry in terms of it provides you a platform to launch yourself into a management side, right? That is one thing. And moreover, you don't have to leave, you don't have to leave your job.
True.
That is the biggest advantage, right, of a
Absolutely.
distance education. So
Absolutely.
what you are doing is you are earning already and you are investing it in your further growth, right?
Yeah.
And it will add value, because why I'm saying it, because when you talk about the MBA oil and gas program offered by UPS
UPS
on,
online.
right? So one thing is very categorically I can mention over here that this university is known for its domain specific courses, right?
Yeah.
And when we launched, the energy program, we were the first in Asia.
Wow.
And and moreover, now you have multiple universities which are coming up with such courses, right? They are trying to replicate us,
Replicate. Yeah.
and and that clearly indicates that the courses which we came up with, that means they were relevant, that ensures that they had a quality. That's why others want to imitate us, right? So that is one thing. The other thing is
Yeah.
you get access to alumni, right, network, which is huge.
Absolutely.
So
True.
and being an alumni of this particular university, right, I can also say that, like, you go to any big oil and gas company, I can tell you with certainty here that in a mid management level or a senior management level, you will find UPSI, right? They are the
Absolutely.
one who are driving this industry. So that is
Agreed. Agreed.
the third aspect which I would like to add over here is when you are talking about, you wanted my suggestion on like how we can take it to different stage. So definitely the other aspect of taking it to the different level is definitely the pedagogy. So when we talk about the pedagogical development which are taking place across the globe, yes, there are challenges because the people who are actually doing this course are working in the industry, right? So definitely, but there is one more thing, which we need to understand. If we want to go to a next level, we need to put in the required hard work. So definitely you need to stretch yourself, right? There would be case studies, there would be certain exercises, there would be certain assignments, right, which would require you to burn the midnight oil,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But ultimately that will add to your add to your growth. So
Absolutely.
I believe in that, because like the continuous learning means you are continuously growing,
True.
right? So with that, I would keep it short, and the students are free, prospective students are also free to reach out to us or Penuli sir or you, right?
Yeah.
And we are there to guide them, and definitely would like to address their queries as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you have covered, I think, almost all the things, and I would like to uh, add on to what you said by a quote by Alvin Toffler, that he said that illiterate of 21st century will be not those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this UPS online platform actually helps you in relearning, reskilling yourself to be future ready, and not just future ready but also sustainable as well. So because we have discussed about a lot about the sustainability in terms of oil and gas domain, it is not just the oil domain but also in terms of how it is replicating and connecting with your future, and how you are making with these kinds of courses your career more sustainable in the industry here as well. So now I would like to get the make the floor open and we can take the student questions. And I think there is a quick question that has come up with from Chinmay. There is a student, a participant, and he is asking about what's the future of oil and gas industry, and he is keen to join the oil and gas management program. So your thoughts on it, Dr. Atul?
I think we have already discussed that in detail, right?
Yeah,
During the webinar. So
absolutely.
definitely, this industry uh, is here to stay, right? And when I'm saying that, like, I'm not making anything, something, a statement here that is for us to see. Because this is the industry is almost 150 years old, right? And it has tested, it has something which has grown leap and bound. And moreover, that has shown adaptability to the new changes as well. We have embraced it time and
True.
again, right?
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned before, like there are ample opportunities which are there in oil and gas industry, and moreover, this industry is ready to, change, ready to embrace the new challenges, right? And that
Yeah.
provides an opportunity for a young mind to come, enter, and uh, give some out of the box idea. Because the best thing is about today is we are living in an area wherein no idea is a waste of time. The idea should be just disruptive, and if it's a
Yes.
disruptive idea and which can lead to some additional construction, right, it is going to add value. So
Definitely. Yeah, a quick question too. I will not take much of those questions. I think there is one quick question like, what are the key skills and knowledge areas that are most sought after by employers in the oil and gas industry today? So, just quick, and some of the job roles that people get after completing this program. Can you highlight on this?
uh, definitely, but before that, I would like Penuli sir to answer that because he is the one who has seen the changes. So
Yeah.
he can,
So
he can.
actually, I'm a very hardcore oil and gas man. This is number one. So
Absolutely.
Atul is much more modern in oil and gas than me. But my because you asked me this question, so I have to answer this question. We have to we have we have we have to accept, and this is a truth, that oil and gas is one of the largest sector in terms of employment today, right? In US itself, oil and gas employs more than 10 million people every year, 10 million jobs every year. This is the US number. Most recent number is 10, more than 10 million. So oil and gas, as I mentioned, can change the outlook of a nation. And I'm giving you an example of this, which I love to talk about. So I'm just giving you a one liner on that. Is a country called Guyana in South America, Atlantic coast, where I worked for a few years. Guyana is a small country, 4 million people. Guyana, they very poor country. Agriculture produce mostly. Country of settlers from British, right?
Yeah.
And something happened in 2015 in Guyana. So they found in 2015 they drilled their first well, deep water wells,
Oh
and between 15 and today they have established more than 11 billion barrels of oils, light oil,
my
right?
God.
And it's just expanding. The horizons are expanding. Guyana doesn't know what to do with that revenue which is going to flow to Guyana from the oil and gas operations. So the huge opportunities in Guyana, right?
Yep.
Huge opportunities in Guyana. So would be any nation where new oil and gas fields are found. This is number one. Second, the challenge, of course, that Atul has explained, I've also explained, is we have challenges which are demanded by the situation today. We got to be efficient, we got to be cost cutting, we have to be lean, we have to be dynamically changing, we have to be carbon neutral, right?
True.
And this is where a lot of skills, a lot of job creation is happening today, other than oil and gas,
Yeah.
right? So you talk about skills, and I think there's a question on that. You
Yes.
need to be technology and digitally savvy. This is number
True.
one. you have to understand how the oil and gas is dynamically changing,
Yes.
right? So, and accordingly, you prepare yourself. Like we prepare the student in the campus, but if they are professionals, they will, after they leave the campus, they will be dynamically changing, positioning themselves for their new role in oil and gas.
Absolutely, and there are students who had asked about the job roles. So I think some of the job roles are like after completing this program could be the project manager, or a consultant in the specifically when you talk about oil and gas consultant or an energy consultant or an oil field sales officer or a retail manager in an oil and gas company. So they are some of the roles. Can you, Dr. Atul, also highlight some of the job roles related to oil and gas sector?
I think broadly you have, you have covered at a broader level.
Yeah.
But when we are talking about, the oil and gas industry and the kind of a job profile,
Hmm.
generally, again, within a consultant, you
Hmm.
have multiple, branches attached to it. You could be a
Okay.
technological consultant,
Hmm.
right? So let me quote one example here. Like if you are in, if a Infosys is hiring a oil and gas management student, so that may raise a question, why the hell they are hiring oil and gas students? But the point is, they have clients in the oil and gas industry, and they want someone who can understand the client's query, right? So there,
Okay.
an oil and gas guy come handy. He can talk sense with the client. He can understand their query from the operation, and that query can make understand the technical team. Then those technical team can make the changes in their softwares according to the client requirement, and then it would be implementable, right? So basically, what you are doing is you are stopping multiple to and fro between the client and the deliverable,
Okay.
right? You are acting as a bridge. The
Yeah.
other aspect of it could be a strategy consultant, right? You might be
Mhm.
working with best of the consulting company, EY, Deloitte, or Bain,
Being.
McKinsey, whatever, right? So there you would be, it could be a financial consulting, it could be project consulting, it could be the taxation consulting, right? Because the oil and gas industry have been operating, in a multiple countries, and there are tax issues, right, to be addressed. So understand, so it totally depends where you are, which company is hiring you and where you are getting opportunities. So there are multiple opportunities which are there for you to grab. It's just that you need to understand the basic thing that you are doing management in oil and gas. So the industry aspect, expect you to have a good understanding of oil and gas industry, but they also want you to have a good understanding of the basic management concepts, right?
Absolutely.
So that is one thing. And the other important thing is if you want to grow in oil and gas industry, it's so dynamic that you need to be a voracious reader. You need to read about the industry every day, because if something is happening in somewhere in like Israel Hamas is happening, it will have an impact on oil and gas industry. So if you are
True.
reading continuously, you are abreast with the latest trends, and then you would be able to understand that learning into your work, right?
So true. I mean, absolutely, you are right, and you have rightly highlighted all the points that how the roles are there and how a professional who is interested in making career in oil and gas industry can look in for not only the companies who are specifically in terms of domain, whether it is Lumberjay or whether it is Rosneft or Kane Energy or Reliance, but also companies who are into consulting and IT sector as well. Again, quickly coming back to one of the question that has been asked by a student, that that what are the recruiters? So I think we have already answered it. I'll quickly just give you a glance of what actually we, in terms of when running an online program, certification, or an MBA program in oil and gas, what we do is like we provide an oil and gas program which actually helps you make a transformational leader. And because the program is so in is developed in such a way with getting insights from the industry, getting insights from the senior academicians, and designed and aimed in such a way and making difference with the help of the online classes, one-on-one student faculty interactions, live classes, mentorship, and industry-led lectures, etc. as well. Plus, there are various projects that you do or work on uh, during your program as well. So these are some of the aspects that we provide in our oil and gas program, and that makes actually us stand up apart from other players in the market, or service providers or education institutions in the market. Specifically, if we talk about the university's potential that we have, that the NIF ranking of School of Business or UPES, or the management ranking NIRF, is 39th. That is quite significant. We are one of the pioneers in India, having ranked in the QS World Ranking, Times Higher Education Ranking, and also NAC accredited A as well. So these are the some of the key highlights of the university that we have. Without wasting any of much of your time, I would like now again to thank our speakers, and I would express our my thanks and gratitude towards Dr. Atul and Professor Penuli, and our production, marketing, and operations team as well, who have supported this webinar and made it possible. Also, in terms of closing remark, I would like to say that the success of this webinar is a testament of the collective spirit of learning, growth, and collaboration. And we definitely will be looking forward for many such other engaging events in the future as well. So also thank you once again to all your participants, and we wish you to a good luck for your future and continued success and inspiration in the future endeavors that you do within oil and gas industry. And another important aspect that again I want to highlight is that please do type in your phone numbers or contact details in the chat box, so that our team definitely will be able to connect with you next day. So till then, thank you so much once again. Goodbye. See you all in the future
Thank you.
events. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Sharma. Thank you.
Thank you, Atul. Thank you, Santanu. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Penuli. Thank you, Dr. Atul.